Lesson 2, Multiplication of Numbers in Exponential Form. Today I will demonstrate my mathematical ability to utilize the definition of exponent notation to make sense of the first law of exponents through class discussion. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So if I wanted to expand these out, I would have 3 times 5, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 5 times because I take my base and multiply it 5 times by itself because that's what my exponent says. And then I'm going to multiply this times 3 times 3 times 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay? Because I go 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the first 3. And then I go 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now if I look at this, I have 3 as still as my base, right? But now look, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So my exponent now is to the 12th. Now, I expanded this out so I could show it to you. But basically, if my base is the same, all I have to do is add my exponents. Because 7 plus 5 is 12. Alright? So if I still want to keep this in exponential notation, all I would have to do is simply add my exponents. Alright? Now let's look at the law that goes along with this. Okay, so the first law of exponents is simply going to be, if I have a times x, or a to the x power, times a to the y power, all I have to do is go a to the power of x plus y. Okay? Basically, if I'm multiplying and I have the same bases, all I have to do is simply add the exponents. That's all this is. There is no difference to what we did. Okay? So I'm going to have you actually be multiplying and writing things in exponential notation on your work, but all I'm wanting you to do really is just add the exponents. Alright? Now, we're not only talking about multiplication. What happens if I go into division? Alright? So let's see how that plays out. This says, what is 3 to the 7th divided by 3 to the 5th? Well, let's expand this out first and let's see what we got. So I'm going to take 3, I'm going to expand it out 7 times. Why 7? Because the base is 3, my exponent is 7. Okay? And we're going to go one more. Then I'm going to put my fraction mark back. Alright? And now I'm going to expand my 3 out 5 times. Why? Because 5 is my exponent. 5 tells me how many times I need to multiply 3 by itself. Okay? Now, I can simplify this now. Because I have the same number in the numerator and denominator, 3 divided by 3, you need to tell yourself, a number divided by itself is 1. That is something we've already learned. So if that equals 1, I can simplify it out, or I can cross it out. I just drew a big 1 here is all I did. Another big 1. One more. Oh, here's another. And then the last one. So now I'm left with just 3 to the 2nd. Well, how the heck did I do that? Well, all I did is I subtracted my exponents. 7 minus 5 is 2. So therefore, if the bases are the same and I'm dividing, all I need to worry about is that, all I have to do is subtract. So that because I have just 3 to the 2nd left. Or you can expand it all the way out like I did and draw your big ones all the way through. But remember, when you draw your big ones all the way through, you have to have the same number. I can't have a 4 here and a 3 here. That does not work. Alright? They have to be the same. Now, let's look at the second law of exponents. Okay, so the first law talked about multiplication. The second law is going to talk about division. So I'm going to have a to the x divided by a to the y. Notice the bases must stay the same. So if I want to simplify this, I go a x minus y. Okay? And for the moment, your exponents will remain positive. It will not remain like that in the next few lessons, but for this lesson today, your exponents will remain positive. All right? So it's going to be your exponent from your numerator minus the exponent from your denominator, x minus y. And that's going to tell us what we got here. So we have a couple of interesting things here, because now I have negative 2 to the 7th divided. Now I would separate these. So I would draw a line between these, okay, for the moment, and work them out. So I have negative 2 to the 7th divided by negative 2 to the 5th. Well, if we use the second law of the exponents, it says that if I'm dividing numbers by the same base, all I have to do is subtract their exponents. So 7 minus 5 is 2. So I have negative 2 to the second, right, times, because that's what times is that. Now 95 to the 5th divided by 95 to the 4th. Same rule, right? I'm simply going to go 95, or 5 minus 4, which is 1. So I simply take this times 95. I could write that this is to the first, but I know by looking at it, I have just one 95. So it's always going to have a power of 1. Right? Now, if I wanted to really go through and solve this out, I could go negative 2 times negative 2, right? Because I expand this out, times 95. Well, negative 2 times negative 2 is 4 times 95. Okay? I come over to the side, I go 95 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. I carry my 2. 4 times 9 is 36, plus 2 is 38. So it would be 380. Okay. I would much rather do this than this, because this looks confusing. Here I'm using the laws of exponents. Remember, if I was to multiply and they had the same bases, all I would have to do is add the exponents. However, when I'm dividing like I'm doing in this problem, okay, and the bases are the same here, all I get is subtract. All right. Make sure you write down your W's or your WSQ. Write your question and bring them to class. I'll see you in class.